Hey folks, today I've got a quick tips video on a brand new GoPro Hero 12 Black feature that allows you to rename custom profiles. And I know that sounds probably a little bit boring, but it's actually kind of useful and cool. This won't take more than like 2 minutes. It's also something I've been asking for years.
Again, the one downside to this is that you can't name these. So after a while, you just get a whole pile of presets, especially in the photo modes where it's not very clear as what you're doing.
Let me just show you a GoPro that I have not upgraded. This one right here. And if I tap on the bottom to see the profiles, you'll see there's custom one, there's custom, there's different profiles. The thing is you couldn't actually name these customs. So after a while, you end up with like 10 things that like custom something or just called snow or whatever the case is, and that was entirely useless. Versus now the way it works is that you still have to create the useless custom name, but at least you can rename it afterwards. So let me show you how this works. You're going to start off here on your GoPro. You're going to tap the bottom profile there and then choose to create new preset. You'll then choose video, tap that, and then change your settings however you want. So I'm going to say this is 5.3K. I'm going to say it's 50 frames per second. It's going to be linear, and whatever the case is, linear. Come on, there we go. All the way down. Doesn't really matter what your settings are. And then go to the end there. And I'm going to choose custom. And again, in the past, you could choose your different icons and you can choose the names, but you couldn't customize the names at all. So that wasn't super useful. Then click the X there, not the X, the checkbox. And then over here on my phone, using the GoPro Quick App, you can't like rename it on the GoPro. You have to do it on your phone, but whatever. I will tap the same custom down at the bottom. And then you can see the custom there. I tap the pencil next to it. And at the top where it says rename, where it says custom, but then rename below that, you tap the rename and you say right here, demo linear, or whatever you want it to be except spell linear correctly, and then you're done. Still spell it correctly. You can then choose an icon. I do wish I could choose more icons here. I can only choose from these ones right there, but I'll just say the GoPro icon, that's fine. Click save. And then back here on the GoPro, you'll see now it says demo linear. And if I tap this, I can then see that little GoPro icon there, as well as the other icons for the previous ones. And this is super useful for me personally because having all those things like snow and sun and wind and whatever wasn't really that practical. I organize my GoPro settings based on the settings, if that makes sense. In other words, I want one that is for mountain biking when it's facing me. So MTB selfie would be something that is going to be likely in super view, super wide kind of structure there, likely in a 5.3K, 60 frames per second, or whatever the max rates are that I'm allowed to do that gets that. Inversely, there are some shots where I wanted to conform to this normal linear style video with no fisheye look, and those would be linear ones. So I just wanted to be like linear for low speed stuff or linear for high speed stuff, and we got to create those particular names on the GoPro. This is just a really simple sort of thing. In addition, you can also use GoPro Labs if you want to make your life more complicated and do this via QR code. There are lots of things that GoPro Labs is amazing at. I'm not sure this would be one of those things I would use. This just seems a whole lot easier, but it's cool to at least have the option. Also, I know a bunch of you are probably asking, where is my review of the Insta360 Ace Pro camera? That is coming soon. The weather here has been crap the last few weeks. It's basically been like 60-mile-an-hour winds every day and sideways rain for weeks. And you don't really want an action camera review in that because there's nothing good about overcast action cameras. It just looks boring. Now, that said, I am working on a video on one of the new features of this camera that is super cool and that no one else has today, which is the ability to do overlays, combine the data from your Garmin watch or your Apple Watch into the camera. And again, that doesn't require super exciting footage. I'm just gonna make it work on crappy footage. And so you can see example of that there. But what's neat is that you don't actually have to buy the GPS module for this camera to make it work. Versus for DJI, you have to buy the GPS module. And then for GoPro, they killed off the GPS in the unit itself on the Hero 12. So you can't do that at all. So that's a super cool feature, and I'm going to dive into it here very shortly, probably early next week, on all the nuances there, because as always, there's lots of nuances, and that's my deal in life. So with that, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on that, or just hit the like button so you tell YouTube you like this. Have a good one.